All right, here we go. We are live. Let me go ahead and close this a little bit. Make sure it's readable. Oh, whatever. Anyway, now you can't even see the sandwiches. Oh well. All right. So today's gonna be a relatively short live stream. I normally do, 90 minutes to, 120 minutes. But I really am trying to get a video published today. I thought I would have it by today. It took so much longer than I thought it would be. It actually took literally twice as long as I thought it would take to actually make this video. And it needs to be out today because today is a very special day. So once I'm done with this live stream, I have to get back to work. Let me see. We have Wyatt, Hope for Change. Hello, you guys. Hello, Kevin. Hello, Britannic. Hello, Tesseract. Hello, Mark. How's it going? Hello, Tom. Hello, Haley. And Scott. So today is Earl Grey. I always look forward to the days when I get to have Earl Grey. And then another thing that's back is the cucumber sandwiches. So I finally was able to order the ingredients for them, so they're back again. Just letting the water heat up. So Haley says, hello, today is Disneyland's 67th anniversary. That is correct. So, yeah, so the video I wanted to have out today, I was hoping to have it out by noon today, which was 4 hours ago, is the video about the creation of Disneyland. It's a really good video, so even if you're on this channel not looking for Disney content, it's going to be a really good documentary. It's a half-hour long documentary. And it's really, really good. The only thing is that, like I said, it took me so long to make. Like, I extremely miscalculated the amount of time it was going to take on this one. And so I worked late into the night last night working on it. Got up early this morning and started working on it. I've been working on it since early this morning all the way till just a few minutes ago when I started preparing for tea time. So, as you can imagine, that's like dedicating a lot of it. But that was just the last 2 days, I've been working on this all week. So, I've been working on this since I released my last video, which I think was the train wreck at Montparnasse. So ever since I released that video, I've been working on this one. And the funny part was that this video was already partially done. The work was already partially done. I had previously written a script for it, so it's not like I had to write a whole new script from scratch. I did edit it. I did edit the script, though. It needed a lot of cutting down and a lot of changes here and there. So, oh, whoops, I emptied out all the water. I shouldn't have done that. I need some of the water there. I'm just preheating the teapot and the teacup. Did I oh yeah, I overfilled that. Of course. There we go. Let that sit there and... So yeah. So I'm hoping to have that video out today. Because, again, today is the Disneyland's anniversary. But the other thing about today is that it just so happens to be a Sunday that Disneyland's anniversary falls on, which is cool because Disneyland opened on a Sunday. And so that's what makes this extra special. So my chat is not keeping up with the comments. Let's see. Luke says, hello, Alex. Hello, Luke. Hello, Corgi. Bill says, good luck with the video. Look forward to it. Thank you. Maybe I'll have it done by 6 p.m., which is in 2 hours from now. We'll see. I'm so close. I'm doing some last-minute editing, but I know this part of editing takes longer than I always think it does. I always think, oh, I'll have this knocked out in an hour, and then it takes me like 3. So this last part of the editing process is key, and if I publish the video too late tonight, no one will watch it. So I would probably have to wait till tomorrow or Tuesday, because people don't watch videos on Mondays. So that's the thing that kind of sucks, is I was really hoping to have this video out earlier today so people could actually have time to watch it and stuff. But if it's going to be ready too late tonight, then I might as well not publish it today. I might as well wait till Tuesday, because Tuesdays, for some reason, people watch videos on Tuesdays, but they don't watch videos on Mondays. So, hello Rayanne, hello HenryHallFan, hello Swag, hello Daniel. Ozzy says, been having monsoon weather here in Fort Mojave, Arizona. It's 116 degrees. Yikes. Oh my gosh. Ozzy, I don't burn my fingers until after I have brewed the tea. That's when the teapot is at its hottest. Daniel says, so Alex, what happened to your old N-scale locomotives? I still have some of them, but I gave a few of them over to my friend Steve, because Steve was the one that built me this special layout table. It's a very special custom-made table designed to fold up for when I move it. But he designed and built this thing, and in exchange for that, I gave him my old layout, and I gave him some of my old trains, because I don't need them. But I kept some of the ones that had sentimental value to me, some of the ones that were given to me by my great-grandfather. So I kept a lot of N-scale stuff, but I don't have room to display them. Like, I obviously, I know that a lot of people display their old trains. I don't have the room to display them at all. Not even in a shadow box or nothing. So my walls are all filled with stuff, and I don't like having every wall crammed with things, because it makes me feel claustrophobic. But yeah, so it's one of those things where I can't display them. So I have so many things in my closet that should be on display for people to see. You know, I like to display things I collect. But with this studio apartment, it's so small, I just don't have the space to display anything. So I have to be very selective about what I show and what I display. Wyatt says, this is a live stream instead of an update, but is there anything new with the Queen Mary, or is it still the way we last heard of it? There's been some updates, but it's nothing consequential. Nothing that is like, ooh, that's interesting, you know? Like, it's just been some stuff behind the scenes, like new contracts being signed and stuff like that. So there really isn't anything interesting yet. And right now, QMI is awaiting contact from the city. They're supposed to give us a list of things that we can choose from to work on. So we're waiting for that list, and then when we get the contact from that, or we might have to contact them, because it has been a while. Last time we spoke to them was beginning of June. So it has been a while, and we do kind of want to know if there's been any construction updates. That way we can give those updates to people, but we'll see how things go this week. Kevin Stewart says, your favorite Disney movie? It would have to be Pinocchio, the original animated Pinocchio. Brian says, I can't remember when I saw it, but I assume you have watched it already. But there's an old sped-up time-lapse video of Disneyland being constructed, and I thought it was interesting. Oh, yeah, I have that. I have all the documentaries, all the old construction footage. I even have footage that people donated to my channel that nobody else has. I have footage of the park throughout the years. Before I ever did videos on ocean liners and videos on trains and things, my number one obsession for most of my life was Disneyland. So I have such a vast collection of photographs and footage, and you know, I even have 4K conversions of certain footage that, you know, nobody else really has. I was able to acquire those. Some of them are publicly made available, but others are private footage that someone was able to upscale to 4K. So, yeah, if it has anything to do with Disneyland and it was once published by the Disney company, you can be sure that I've probably seen it and can probably recite the words word for word. Let's see. So, this is the part where I can't really see where the water is. Alright, 411. Okay. So, 416 on that. Okay. Daniel Ramirez says, I saw an NDM 484 locomotive. I don't know what that is. I know a 484, but I don't know what an yeah, I don't know what NDM is. Ozzy says, Alex, what former U.S. president opened Disneyland? He was a movie actor and governor of California. That would be Ronald Reagan. At the time, he was just a movie actor, but yeah, he later became governor of California and then president of the United States. But yes, Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was asked to help open Disneyland by his friend Art Linkletter, and Art Linkletter was asked by Walt Disney to conduct the television telecast thing. So he asked Art Linkletter. Art Linkletter was gonna host the telecast, and he brought in his two friends, Ronald Reagan and Bob Cummings, to do the telecast. That information will be in my video today too. Let's see. Haley says, do you have any unpopular Disneyland opinions? Yeah, I certainly do. The park today does not interest me. The park as it is today does not interest me at all. It's not the place it was when I grew up. It's not the same park. It makes me stressed out when I visit it now, you know, and that was even last time I visited it was before the pandemic, before they made these major changes. So it was stressing to visit the park. And now it would just be even more stressing. I don't have a desire anymore to visit Disneyland. I used to, when I was younger, I used to have like a desire to visit the park. I'd wake up one day and be like, today feels like a day I should be at Disneyland. But I don't have those anymore. Not since I moved up here 2 years ago. I don't have those anymore because it's not the same park. I don't consider it really Disneyland anymore. So that's kind of my unpopular opinion. Let's see. History with Swag says, hi Alex, I'm not feeling good today, and basically I just got yelled at when I was vomiting this morning. Oh my gosh, that sounds terrible. I hope you feel better. Tangent. Yeah, actually I have heard the Challenger's coming back. Daniel says, do you wish the Aquitania was preserved? Yeah, I certainly do. Hey Scott, how's it going? Swag says... Oh, Swag's talking to somebody else. Thost says, do you stream often? I'm a new subscriber. Yes, so I do different kinds of live streams. This is what we call like a tea time live stream. And I do these tea times twice a week. I do them on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time and Sundays, like today, at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And so, yeah, these are twice a week. And then I do other kinds of streams. Sometimes I do a stream where I, will roam the Titanic in in a video game. There's like a, what do you call it? It's called Titanic Honor and Glory. It's a demo, and so sometimes I live stream myself exploring that, so that way people can kind of see Titanic and stuff like that. Or on certain Saturdays out of the month, I host a live stream with my colleague Stephen Ablonzi, and we do a show where we talk about the lost and abandoned places on the RMS Queen Mary, the places that have been altered over the years or changed or just plain ripped out. So that's actually a really good series. We were going to do one yesterday, but we were both so busy. Just, he was really busy, I was really busy. I was working on this video that I'm supposed to have out today. And so we just decided we're going to try for next week on Saturday. So yeah, we do I do all kinds of live streams on this channel. But yeah, good to have you here. Okay, time for the tea. Miss Doja says, was the Queen Mary revolutionary for its time? In certain ways, yes. But her engines and stuff, her propulsion system, not really. She had a very traditional propulsion system, but she was revolutionary in the sense that she was the first ocean liner to be designed with a kosher kitchen and synagogue for her passengers. Other ships, they usually added those things after, and even then they never came up with a kosher kitchen. They had a corner of the main kitchen would be dedicated to kosher foods. But they've never, before Queen Mary, there was no ocean liner that had a kosher kitchen. And Queen Mary had two. She had one in the main kitchen and one in the third class pantry area. And then Queen Mary had a synagogue. So they've added synagogues to ships after they were built. But Queen Mary was the first ship to have one in its construction plans. As well as the fact that, Queen Mary, when she was built, was the fastest ocean liner in the world. She eventually captured the blue ribbon and held on to that for 14 years before a much faster ship took it from her. So there was that. She was also originally going to be the largest ship in the world when she was built, but Normandy added 3,000 extra tons to her size in order, so Queen Mary couldn't really keep that title. But yes, originally Queen Mary was going to be the largest at the time. Eventually, her companion ship, the Queen Elizabeth, would hold the title of the world's largest passenger ship for quite a long time, in fact. Let's see. Ozzy says Ronald Reagan was CBS sports announcer at the time. Dan says, hi, Alex. Hello. Daniel says it's the... Oh, okay, I can't pronounce that. I can say this, though. Nacionales de Mexican. Or National Railways of Mexico. I know that... oh, I see. Okay. Okay, I see. Jay Robinson says, hey, Alex, I found myself being a regular of your channel now, and I found you by the off chance. Oh, awesome. Thanks. Let me just pour this real quick. I think I pulled a muscle in my shoulder yesterday. I was stretching my arms, and the funny thing was I didn't feel pain at first. I finished stretching, I was done, and then afterwards I could barely lift my arm a certain way, and it's so weird. It is certainly a muscle strain of some kind, but nothing too crazy. I can still use my arms and stuff, but I was just like, geez, that hurts. But I just remember that right now because I can feel it right now. But Daniel says, would it be cool if the UP Challenger and the Big Boy did a double header? Yeah, I think so. It'd be kind of cool to see you know, the two largest steam locomotives ever built do that. Dangerous Brian says, when did you start feeling like Disneyland did not feel the same to you? Also, I have only been to Disneyland Paris at the time I went. It was known as Euro Disney. I would say the last time Disneyland really felt the same to me was 2015. Yeah, that was around the time that they were really building. They were starting to build Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and that was the beginning of the end for me. Was when they were starting to build Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, because they had to downsize Frontierland River, and they had to reroute things, and they built Star Wars Land, and Star Wars Land just doesn't belong in Disneyland. It just doesn't belong. Like, it's just weird, but so that was kind of the beginning, and then after that it became. See, it was really weird because 2012, and I often say this, the year 2012 felt so hopeful. That was, I was still a cast member at the time, and everything felt so hopeful. You know, everything was going in a good direction for the company, and everybody was really excited about what was happening. Even the second park, Disney California Adventure, was really blossoming into a nice park. You could see the potential, you know, and but then after 2015, everything just kind of changed. They kind of went a different direction, and so that Disney quality that I remember just started sliding downhill. I mean, granted, there are certain things over the decades that have gotten worse, but I suppose for me, it's just the turning point was 2015. And it was at that point that none of the things I enjoyed, even the food at the parks, was getting more disgusting. And I was getting really disappointed by my experiences there. So, yeah, it's kind of a sad story in that way. Because I loved Disneyland since 2002. And, you know, I'd say the last time I really enjoyed the park was 2019, and then I just stopped feeling it. You know, I just stopped feeling it. Around 2019, it just didn't feel like the same anymore. I was excited for the opening of Galaxy's Edge. I went to the land after it opened, and I was like, this is pretty cool, you know, for what it is. And I enjoyed, like, I was one of the few people that enjoyed the blue milk drinks that they had. You know, that kind of satisfied like a lifelong, you know, ambition of some kind, you know, I guess, was to try the blue milk from Star Wars. I actually enjoyed that drink. But the park just started to feel more and more lifeless. And I think now that I think about it, the turning point really was more like when Bob Chapek started having more and more influence on the parks. You know, that was around 2015 when he had more influence, and that influence really just decreased the quality to a point where I could no longer enjoy my time. Let's see here. Miss Doja says, what are your thoughts on Airbus A380? I have no idea. I'm not an airplane person. Haley says, do you know that Disneyland, It's a Small World finale, had pink sunset walls, and roughly 1979 they put a black curtain over it, which is still like that today. There has been so many changes to It's a Small World. I remember when I made my video about It's a Small World a couple years back, you know, a lot of people were really unhappy with that video. They were like, you know, you didn't mention this and that and this and that. And I'm like, that's because if I mentioned everything that changed, I would be sitting on that video, and the video would be an hour long, talking about all the things that have changed on It's a Small World. And it's the same thing with Jungle Cruise. I attempted to make things right by making my Jungle Cruise videos. It was a 2-part video, and trying to mention all the changes that happened over the years. But then, you know, and I was satisfied. I was like, okay, I mentioned everything I possibly could while still cutting out some things. And then I posted those 2 videos, and I looked back at them, and I'm like, I don't like those videos. They're too long. You know, and it was funny because when I was a kid, I used to think, why don't they make these Disney documentaries longer? I want to know more. I want to see more about the changes. And then now that I'm an adult, I kind of realize why. It's because when it becomes too long, it becomes too, what's the word? I guess pedantic is the word. I don't know. I don't know what the word, but there is a point when it comes to entertainment that something can be too long. And so I try to find that balance with my videos. I try to find the balance of teaching people stuff they've never heard before while still delivering something that is entertaining. Because a key part of my channel, I know my channel is called Alex the Historian, but I don't consider myself a historian. I don't see myself as someone who's going to document every last little thing about everything. I'm an entertainer first and foremost, and I try to take the history that I learn and make it entertaining to bring more people in. That's the key to my channel. Is I want to see more people get interested in history, technology, the history of technology, and so my goal has always been to make that information more entertaining so more people will watch. Hey Ryan, how's it going? M says, when are you planning to go on Queen Mary 2? I hope you will do a big tour of the ship. Love all the Queen Mary stuff. Thank you. The Queen Mary 2 trip, I have no idea. It's as soon as I have the money for it, then I'm going to try to book a trip aboard. But I don't have the money yet. I'm still thousands of dollars away from that goal. So, you know, I have a GoFundMe page that I put up. The link is in the description below. So if anybody wants to donate to that trip, the whole trip is meant to be a business trip. I'm going to be spending all my time filming stuff to make videos out of, all kinds of history stuff from not just the Queen Mary 2, but the UK. When I get there and go to Paris as well, I want to film a bunch of historic places to make videos out of it for the future. So really, it's an investment in the channel. But at the same time, you know, I have to save up money for it. I've saved up a couple $100 so far of my own money, and then the GoFundMe page has had people donate up to $740, I think, worth of money that people donated. But the final goal is somewhere around $8,000 to do the whole trip. If I only get half that, which is $4,000, then I can do half the trip. I can do, like, you know, a voyage on Queen Mary 2, spend less than a week in Europe, and then come back. So that's kind of like the backup plan, is if I don't reach the full goal, then at least I can meet it kind of halfway. But I would like to eventually reach the full goal so we can spend a full month doing this filming trip. So, but again, that depends on when I have the money. But this year, when the Queen Mary, the original Queen Mary, reopens to the public in Long Beach, I will try to be there and to film stuff on the ship as well, because I need a lot of footage for future videos of the Queen Mary. I need a lot of high quality 4K footage. So my friend and I are going to be there filming that. So, Ryan says, if 2012 Disneyland and DCA was still around today, would you still like Disney today or no? I probably would, yeah. If it was still like it was in 2012, then yeah, I would like the Disney parks still. But whatever quality they had in 2012 is gone now. Carl says, Alex, what's the story behind the picture of Queen Mary in the big wave? Were they followed by plane? Picture of Queen Mary in the big wave. The one from the war? That might have been taken from a plane, but I don't know the story, so I couldn't tell you for sure. It does look like it was captured from high in the air, so I'm gonna say the photo was taken from a plane. Yeah. Daniel Ramirez, I don't know what the Sierra Railway number 3 is, so I couldn't tell you. Dangerous Brian says, I know things change, but do you think that that some changes they make destroys Walt's original vision of his creations? That's a really complex question because it's not a yes or a no question. It depends on what they change, honestly. Because change is not a bad thing inherently. Change is a good thing. In fact, I think that Disneyland is a bit stale because they don't change things. But the thing is that the things that they have changed are things that I think didn't need to change. That's the funny thing. So, it's really complex. It's a kind of question that opens a can of worms. Haley says, what ride did you go on your first trip to Disneyland? I actually don't know because I've been going to Disneyland since I was a little baby. I've been to Disneyland way too many times in my life to be able to tell you how many times I've been there. So I really don't know what my first ride was or even, I don't even remember the first ride that I can remember, basically. Not at all. Daniel, yes, I've heard of Knott's Berry Farm and its locomotives. Hey, Goofy Rolls, how's it going? History of Swag says, hey, Alex, it's me again. What do you know on the Queen Elizabeth? A lot. I mean, ask me a question. Daniel says, has the Queen Mary ever been close to being torpedoed or sunk? Yes. So, I'm trying to remember because I'm trying to remember this information out of a book I read. And let's see. They were in the Atlantic off the coast of South America somewhere. I want to say near Trinidad, maybe near Brazil somewhere during the war. And they were spotted by a submarine. And it was reported that the submarine saw them and that they were getting ready to fire. But again, Queen Mary was out of their sights before they could even do it. So Queen Mary, she's never technically had a torpedo actually come at her because she was too fast. She was too fast for them to aim the submarine in the right direction, set up the shot, launch the torpedo, and then have the torpedo actually chase the ship. She was too fast for all that to happen. So, sunk. She did almost come close to sinking. Towards the end of the war, she almost struck an underwater mine. The mine blew up about 300 feet from the starboard side. I forget which side, but it was about 300 feet away from the ship, which sounds like a like a big distance for us, but when you consider the size of the ship and you consider how fast the ship was going, you know, it was a big deal. It was very close. So yeah, 300 feet off the ship, there was an explosion from an underwater mine. They believe that the ship set off the explosion, which again, it makes you wonder how effective the degaussing strip on the ship really was. Gabe Wilson says, what's your favorite railway books? I don't have any. I have one on Disney railroads, but I don't have any on other railroads. Ryan says, I miss when you did Disney content. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I tried to keep adapting the channel to different types of Disney content, and it never went anywhere. You know, just not enough people watched it. It was weird because the more I tried to appeal to the Disney audience, the less people there were. And there's people who've argued with me that, because I told them, I said, the thing is that the Disney content on YouTube is so oversaturated. There's too many Disney YouTubers on YouTube right now that the smaller ones can't grow. And I know, because I personally know many of those smaller YouTubers, and they can't grow because the market for Disney content on YouTube is oversaturated. And so what happens is a lot of people tend to only watch the more popular YouTubers because, you know, there's a reason why they're popular. They make good content that people like. So, you know, so people try to stick to that. And so there's a lot of smaller YouTubers who just can't get their foot in the door. And I, thankfully, wasn't so small, but at the same time, my channel was just like that because there was just stuff that people liked more, you know. People love Disneyland history, but they don't watch it as much as they used to. And so that was the problem. I would have loved to have kept going and talking more about Disney history, but it was very clear that people weren't watching my videos, so I had to stop because I was wasting so much money trying to make those videos. Yeah, a lot of my knowledge when it comes to trains has to do with, first of all, what I know about the Disneyland Railroad, which is an authentic steam-powered railroad. But also it has to do with what I've learned over the years from random things I've picked up. I have books on model railroading, and those sometimes have information about actual railroads. But I'm still learning a lot more. And, you know, I have a friend who knows 50 times more about trains than I do. And so when I start deep diving into more about trains on this channel, I'll be asking for his help to introduce me to some of those things. Because he has all the books and he has all the information. Like, he has actual books on railroads. And he'll lend me some and he'll show me some things. And he has photographs and information that he can share, so, you know, that's the kind of help I'll be getting. Goofy Roll says, did they ever paint Queen Mary in Razzle Dazzle? No, that was a World War I thing. Cunard White Starline says, hi Alex, can't stay, but when is the next Tea Time live stream? Next Tea Time live stream will be on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Rayanne says, I agree with you that Disney content is oversaturated. It's just sad because yours is the highest quality. I still rewatch your videos. Oh, thank you, Rayanne. I tried to make the quality of my videos really high quality. Because, you know, like, I thought of it in terms of, like, I don't want to be another person making video essays. You know, like, I know a lot of people on my channel call my videos vlogs, or they call them, you know, that, you know, whatever, blogs even. Blogs are articles you write on the internet. Vlogs are video logs that you shoot when you go somewhere and you want to show people what you're doing. But what I do is documentaries. And so, you know, those documentaries that I did, I didn't want people to feel like it was just a video essay. Because a video essay is very similar to a documentary. But usually a video essay is like a person narrates the history of something and that's it. They narrate it in a bullet point fashion. They go, on this year, this happened. On this year, that happened. On that year, that happened. I like that sometimes, but I personally prefer documentaries. I like to be entertained while I'm learning. And so I thought, well, if no one on YouTube is going to do that kind of thing, because at the time, nobody was making Disney history videos that way. And I thought, well, I might as well try it. And so that's what I did. I started making videos that were entertaining but told history in order to attract viewers and get people interested. And it worked. People really loved the videos, and I was happy because I think every video I got a little bit better at it. And then I had that copyright issue, and I had to take down all the videos, and now I'm still slowly putting them back up one by one after redoing them. This Disneyland documentary that's coming out, hopefully tonight, if I can get it done in time, it's going to be 30 minutes. I'm using a script from a former video that was similar, but I've completely rewritten the script, I've completely re-narrated it, and then the video itself, it was funny because I thought, oh, I'll have this video out in no time, because what I'll do is I'll just chop up the previous 2 videos that it made and combine it into one video. But then it turned out that the footage on those original 2 videos I made, I have better footage today than what it looked like back then. Like, very crystal clear. Like, you can see, like, there's some footage I have of Disneyland under construction, and in my former videos, it was very fuzzy and pixelated because that was the best quality I could find on YouTube back then. But since then, I have now, like, 4K versions of that same video. So I realized I had to go back and re-edit the whole thing from scratch. So I've done that as well. And now I'm almost done. I'm editing out the various, like, noises I make when I record narration. You know, you breathe, you know, when you record narration, and your lips smack, or your tongue makes a weird little juicy noise in your mouth when you're talking. And so I'm editing all that out now. And then after I'm done with the live stream, I have to get back to it, finish editing all that sound out, put in music to the thing, and then I need to do another dry run of it to see if I need to do any image animation. Image animation is very simple on my channel. I basically either zoom in, zoom out, or move an image left to right. But even that simple stuff will take me like 3 hours. So it's crazy how long it takes to do this stuff. What is... Someone's spamming my chat. Haley says, what are some of your favorite Disney YouTubers? I don't mention on my channel who are my favorite YouTubers of any kind. Because as a YouTuber myself, I know a lot of these people, and it would cause certain people unnecessary jealousy, or sometimes even unnecessary anger, if I picked out favorites. So I can't do that. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Linda. Oh, I see. Technoblade was RMS Queen Mary. Okay, I see. Hello. I thought you were a spammer for a second there. I was like, what's going on? Thank you, Jess. Daniel says, how old are you? Not trying to be weird. I'm 30 years old. I just turned 30 this year. HenryHallFan says, fun fact about the Dazzle camouflage. The artist that painted the two paintings in the Queen Mary's first-class smoking room, Edward Wadsworth, was the same artist that designed the Dazzle camouflage. I did not know that, actually. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, you know, what's really unfortunate about Disney history is that Disney history is not usually very well documented, and it's documented frequently, but not well. So it's important I make that distinction, because there are Disney YouTube channels out there that put out history of rides and things, and there's some select few, and I can't mention names again because it would just cause more trouble than it's worth, but there are a select few out there that when they put out history stuff, they don't even really do the research. They just, you know, sometimes they tell their viewers that they just pull up Wikipedia real quick, and you know, and it's really sad because they repeat this information, and it's so inaccurate, so inaccurate, that I'm just like, that's not fair. You know, I make mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes, actually, on my channel. But I at least can tell people, I can look them in the eye and say, I did do the research. I did look at more than one reference, you know, and I tried to cross-reference things to make sure that everything is, you know, it makes sense. So I actually put in the effort, and I make mistakes sometimes. But there are some channels out there who don't put in the effort at all. They don't want to. So they just look up something real quick, and it doesn't matter whether or not it's true, they just repeat it. And then the viewers, they think that because that person has a lot of subscribers, that they're of notable information. And it's not usually the case. Frankly, I have to always remember to take a step back and go, you know what, it's just Disney content. It's not going to hurt the world if they put out the wrong information out there. But I will say the one thing where I feel when it comes to Disney that the wrong information is always being put out is actually about Walt Disney himself. There's a lot of misinformation people put out there about, you know, about him, especially when it comes to people declaring that he was prejudiced or racist in some way. And it's ridiculous, because not because it's hard to prove otherwise. It's ridiculous because a lot of it is in context, and what's missing from people that relay information about Walt Disney is context. You know, a conversation can sound so different without context, but with it, it might be more understandable. And so Walt Disney is one of those subjects where it's easy to misinterpret what he did or how he acted without the context of the situation. And some people will, you know, I've met YouTubers who purposely leave out the context because it fits the narrative they want to tell their viewers. And it's so sad. And, you know, I would love to make a video where I provide that context for people so they can make an informed decision of their own, you know, because if you're going to tell people, you know, oh, Walt Disney made a cartoon showing Donald Duck becoming a Nazi, that sounds terrible, right? You go, whoa, that is awful. But the context is Walt was hired by the U.S. military to make that video. Back then, as you guys have probably heard, in the war, countries made propaganda videos, and the U.S. was no different. They made propaganda videos against the Nazis, against the Japanese, against the Axis forces, so that way they could inspire the Americans to, get out there and do something and help their country. And so the only way Walt could keep his studio running during the war was if it produced propaganda. And so the U.S. government said, here's what we want. We want a cartoon that shows that Nazis are terrible. And so Walt goes, okay, here's how we're going to do it. And his cartoon was not about Donald becoming a Nazi and being proud of it. It was about Donald having a nightmare where he joins the Nazi party, becomes a German soldier. He lives this horrible life as a German soldier, underfed, underpaid, all this stuff. And I forget how it ends because I have it on my computer somewhere, but I haven't watched it in years. And then he wakes up from this horrible nightmare and, thanks his lucky stars that he's in the U.S. So when you leave out the content or the context, then it sounds terrible. So there's a lot of things like that where people take the stuff about Walt Disney completely out of context, push it forward and say, this is what he did, look at this. And then you go, okay, but why? If you look at why, you will get your answer. And so that's one of those things where I would love to make videos that talk about that. But it's a very touchy subject because I've noticed that even when I try to tell people and I give them the context of these specific situations to help explain off some of the things, some people don't want to hear it. They are comfortable living their life knowing that Walt Disney was pure evil. That's how they sleep at night, is knowing that Walt Disney was evil. So if I go in there and burst that bubble and say, look, he's just a man, and this is what he did, and here's the real story behind it, they can't sleep at night anymore. So that's kind of one of the things, that I wish I could change, but I can't. There would have to be a major societal change for that to happen. Okay, let's get back to some of people's questions. I'm just going to try to skim through these questions because there's a lot of them while I was making my speech. Aviation Housing says, hi bro, how are you doing? I'm in DC doing a tour, but I live in Dubai where the QE2 is from. Awesome. Keith says, hi Alex, not sure if this is covered, but will you be going live again with Railroads Online? Eventually, yes, but right now there's no plans, but yes, eventually. Aviation Cruising says, any idea when QMI will reopen again? It's not, QMI is the company I work for. Queen Mary is the ship. But Queen Mary is said, it's not set in stone yet, so this is not an official opening date. But they want to try to have it open by October 1st. Pedin Harley says, have you ever read the book The Elizabeth Passage of a Queen by Leonard Stevens, describing in detail voyage 424 of Queen Elizabeth in April 1967? It was a favorite book of my father's. No, I haven't read it, unfortunately. I don't have any books specifically about Queen Elizabeth, but when I eventually dive into the history of Queen Elizabeth, I will get books based on that, so I'll look out for that book. So sorry for telling you, you know what, but have you ever read the Queen Mary Q&A by David Ellery? No, unfortunately I have not. There's a whole list of Queen Mary books people have for me to read. I still have 2 books on my shelf about Queen Mary that I haven't read yet because I just don't have the time. So So forgive me, folks, if you have books you want to suggest for me, just to let you know, it'll be a while before I can read any of them. So, Technoblade says, hey, Alex, what happened to RMS Queen Mary being scrapped? I don't understand your question. The Queen Mary has not been scrapped. Linda Solis says, I have a history question about Disneyland. What can you tell me about the light in Walt's window above the firehouse? Was it actually always lit when Walt was in the park? Yes and no. It wasn't... Walt didn't light the lamp during the daytime. He only had it on at night when he was in there. So if he was... So when he arrived in the park and he was spending the night in the park in his apartment, he would have the lamp on. But it was not to tell the cast members that he was there. It was on because he needed it for light. You know, he would be sitting by the window reading a book or something, or going over a script of a new movie, or he would review some plans for a new ride or something. So he would sit by that window with the light on, and the cast members, if they saw the light on there, they knew that it could only mean that Walt was up there, because that light would only be on in that window if Walt was there. So that's kind of how that started. And that's really interesting. There is this scout ant that is on the back wall of this cabinet beneath me. And I've been watching him for like the last 15 minutes. He goes up and then he comes down. And he does this in a zigzag motion like this, just sweeping the surface of the cabinet. That's fascinating. It's like, I always wonder, like, how do they find food? How do they know where to go? And they don't. They just go back and forth. And if they come across something that's food, that's how they discover it. That's fascinating. Anyway, Ryan Hines says, have you heard about Disney losing copyrights to Mickey Mouse? If so, what's your thoughts about it? So over the years, there have been different laws in regards to how long can you keep a copyright before it has to be put into public domain and that kind of thing. Mickey Mouse was originally copyrighted, and I think after a certain period of time, I don't remember what it was, but after a certain period of time, he would have gone into public domain, which means that anybody could make a Mickey Mouse cartoon and it wouldn't have been illegal to do so. But the Disney company, and this is long after Walt died, but the Disney company did not want that to happen for obvious reasons. First of all, Mickey Mouse was still their character. He was actively in the parks. He was actively part of the company. It wouldn't have been right for the public to have Mickey Mouse. And I know that's funny because that's an unpopular opinion too, but people go, oh, Disney's evil. They wouldn't let Mickey Mouse go into public domain. And I'm like, what if your company had a very famous character that made you a lot of money and still does, and all of a sudden that was taken away from you and put into public domain so anybody could use it? I'm like, how would you feel? I'm like, your company is still around, I'm like, so that's not a terrible thing. It'd be different if Disney no longer existed, the company no longer existed. Then yeah, I could see it being a problem for it not being in public domain. But the company's still around. They still use Mickey. But anyway, the point was that they changed Mickey from a copyright to a trademark. And trademarks have a much longer lifespan. In fact, I'm not even sure trademarks even have a lifespan. I think they last forever. But he was changed over from a copyright to a trademark, which is how he's lasted this long. Okay, I gotta end this live stream soon because I do have to finish that video I want to have out today. Again, I'm gonna repeat it again for everybody. I'm gonna put out a video today that is gonna be really interesting. So even if you don't like Disney content, you might actually really like this video. It's gonna be about the creation of Disneyland, what it took to get to that point. It's going to be really good. And it'll be kind of the prequel to my video about the creation of Walt Disney World. So those two videos will go really well together. If you watch the Disneyland one, and then right after you watch the Walt Disney World one, they'll go really well together, like a 2-part video. So, but yes, so the Disneyland video, after this live stream, I'm gonna try to finish it up, get it published sometime today. I'm hoping within the next hour and a half or so. We'll see. So please, if you get a chance, please watch it. I think you'll really like it, even if you're not a Disney person. Let's see. Haley says, how do you feel about the rumors of People Mover coming back? I'll believe it when I see it, basically. They've been saying this for years. It's not anything new to me. You know, when people say, oh, the People Mover's coming back. Every, 4 years or so, somebody makes that announcement. Oh, the People Mover's coming back. And so, you know, after all these years, I'm just kind of like, I'll believe it when I see it. It's possible, yes. It's very possible. But I do not know anybody who has hard evidence to say that it will. So, yeah. I wouldn't get your hopes up, you guys. Because, again, most of my life, this rumor has resurfaced every couple of years. So, Granny Gaming says, what cookies are these this time? These are tea biscuits. They are called McVitie's. So they're chocolate-covered biscuits. And I love having these for tea time. The only thing is that in this warm weather, they melt so easily. So my hands are going to get all gross. Brian says Walt's racism could also be perceived in the time in which he lived. Yes. But the thing is that my point is that Walt wasn't racist. The things you see that appear racist are part of what is called racial insensitivity. So yes, Walt was racially insensitive. You know, when he had the natives in Peter Pan, you know, say how and stuff like that. That wasn't because Walt was like, oh, let's make a joke and make them seem like idiots. Like, it wasn't like that. It was like, oh, you know, people love, you know, Indian natives, and let's make this thing, and he'll say how, and, you know, and people get a good laugh. It was more casual than what people make it out to be. They make it out to be something malicious. When you're malicious, that's when you're racist. But Walt was doing this as a casual jest, which means that it was an idiotic, you know, joke for a video, for a movie, but it wasn't done out of hate. In fact, most of the things that people will talk about, like, oh, look at what Walt did, isn't that racist? Most of those things, when you have the context behind them, reveals that those things were done out of insensitivity. Because, you know, people felt back then that they could just make any kind of joke, say any kind of thing they wanted. And even if they didn't mean it to hurt people's feelings, they didn't realize that it would, you know. So there was things like that. And there's, again, it would take me having to show you guys a lot of information to prove that he wasn't actually racist. And that's a video of its own. And I have that proof. I really do. But the video, I think, even if I proved to people, I think that, again, there's a lot of people who do not want to believe it. Like I said, they sleep better at night thinking that he was, you know, some evil person. And when you have the proof that shows otherwise, you know, people, they don't like it. It's like one of the things is like people go, oh, Walt didn't let black people work in Disneyland or even visit Disneyland. They didn't let black people in there. Well, there's literally photos taken on opening day of the park that show that there were black employees and that there were, you know, there were black guests visiting the park that day from day one. And then there's tons of footage. I have the photos and footage to show it. So that's not true. There were people of all races and ethnicities both visiting and working for Disneyland since opening day. And people say, oh, well, you know, they didn't allow gay people to even dance together in Disneyland. Well, yeah, but what do you expect? You know, people didn't really even see, you know, any kind of gay or homosexuality until the 1970s. So what do you expect? You know, like, it just, you know, and even then they didn't come up with the rule, no dancing together, until the late 1960s after Walt's death, because before that, nobody would have seen two men dancing together or two women dancing together. So that rule wasn't made until the 1960s, and it lasted through the 1980s, and it finally was removed, I think, in the 1990s. But, yeah, you know, it's just like, but there's tons of evidence to, just as there's tons of evidence people have to say, oh, look at these horrible things, there's just as much, if not more, evidence to show, look at these things that contradict those bad things. It makes you wonder, why would they contradict each other? What's the real story? The real story isn't that he wasn't a hateful person. He was a person who had the same insensitive idiocy as anybody else of that age. You know? So, Dragon Dude says, do you know if there is still a hole in the Matterhorn from the gondolas? Yes, technically there is. One side of it was sealed up, the other side was left open. And then through the middle, they've installed new scenery. So technically it doesn't pass all the way through anymore, but there is a hole on the Tomorrowland side. What does Epcot stand for? Epcot stands for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. EPCOT. Maritime Review says, hey Alex, had to see you again. Good to see you too. I was on leave in Michigan for 2 weeks, so I haven't had time to see your live streams. That's alright, I understand you're busy. Haley says, did you know that one Disney fact that Disney YouTubers say that is not true is that there is a moon and a sun in every room in It's a Small World? Yeah, that one is not technically true. But there's a lot of them. There's a moon and sun in many of the rooms in It's a Small World. Goofy Rules says, to get an idea of what ocean liners were like, look up Japanese super ferries. They are motte cruise ships, but very luxurious. Okay. Granny Gaming says, what kind of tea do you drink? Oh, I have like 7 different kinds of tea. Today is Earl Grey. Last time was Lady Grey. I also have Irish breakfast tea, English breakfast tea. I have Darjeeling tea. And I have a second English breakfast tea. Anything else? I think that's it. Let's see. Hey, Mike. No, I'm not worried about what that person said. I'm not worried about that. On my channel, I want everybody to know something. On my channel, everybody is free to express their opinions. Even if I don't agree with the opinion, everybody is free to express it. Where I draw the line is if you're expressing your opinion in a rude manner, a way that tries to make me or someone else feel stupid, which is what I call demeaning someone. And then the other thing, too, is if you're expressing your opinion in a way to call out someone else's opinion as, again, rudely idiotic or stupid, that's where I draw the line. So I had to do that yesterday with somebody who was literally going around to various viewers of mine in their comment sections and bullying them for their opinions. And you know, the thing is like, if this person doesn't like me, I'm cool with that. They can say, oh, I don't like Alex. Like, fine. But don't bully my viewers over things. And Mike, you weren't the only one. There was a few other people. And I drew that's where my rules are. I have rules on this channel. And so I drew the line and I blocked that person from the channel because, you know, like I said, you can express your opinions even if I don't like them, but you can't bully people and you can't mistreat people for having an opinion that's different than yours. I don't think that's a conductive, you know, way to conversate, you know. Techno Blade says, hey Alex, what happened to RMS Queen Elizabeth? Be scrapped. It got burned. Old time. Well, you answered your own question. It didn't, it burned down. That's why it got scrapped. Linda says, thank you for answering our questions, Alex. Looking forward to the next video. Happy birthday, Disneyland. Thank you so much, Linda. Granny Gaming says, do you work for people who own the Queen Mary? No. The people who own the Queen Mary is the city of Long Beach. And I don't work for the city. I'm not a public official. But I work for a company that is dedicated to the preservation of the Queen Mary. QMI Restore the Queen. A6 Aviation says, when are you going to the UK? Whenever I have the money. I don't have the money yet. So, we'll see. Brian says, Epcot stands for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. Yep. History of Swag says, hey Alex, I'm going to head over to Historic Travels Live. Sorry if I hurt your feelings. I think, no, I don't mind. You can go. You know, I know that he has a Sunday live stream. I have a Sunday live stream. Just happens to be a convenient day for me to do my live streams. But I don't mind if people go to see his. Granny Gaming says, do you have a favorite ride at Disneyland? Yeah, the Disneyland Railroad. Hey Conrad, I know you're just joining, but I am going to end the live stream very soon because I do have to get back to work. I have a video I have to put out by today. Swag. Sorry, Swag, I blocked that person. I don't even remember their name, honestly. So... Corgi says, hi Alex, I was wondering if Queen Mary's watertight doors could still be lowered today, or are they non-functional now? Most of Queen Mary's watertight doors were, they moved horizontally, not vertically, so they would actually close horizontally. If they were refurbished, yes, they could work, but they don't work today. They don't work right now. Some of them are being refurbished, though. Not for opening and closing. I think they're being refurbished to be permanently closed. But yeah, so... Nate says, is your position in QMI as a volunteer position? Yes, it is a volunteer position. I do not get paid to work for QMI. I work for QMI because I want to help the Queen Mary. I want to see the Queen Mary do very well, and I want to help bring awareness to the ship. So... that's what I do there. See you later, Swag. Aviation Cruising, or no, not Aviation, Ryan Hines. Phantasmic, in my opinion, is better, but I like the old Phantasmic, not the new Phantasmic. Granny Gaming says, are the watertight doors on Queen Mary open or closed right now? Some are open, some are closed. They're not all the same. Some have been permanently left open, some have been permanently left closed. Alright. Thank you, Martin. See you later. Now that my thumb is sufficiently chocolatey. Alright, folks. Keep an eye out for my documentary about Disneyland tonight. Again, it'll be really interesting. Even if you're not into Disneyland, you might find it actually very fascinating. So, give it a try. And I'm going to end the live stream now. My next tea time will be Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And then, what else? Expect a history video out on Friday as well. So I'll see you guys all later. Thank you all for joining me, and have a good day. Bye-bye.